And I should thank you, Sebastian, for your vCon hack in demonstrating just how
That was
easy it
fun.
is.
Yeah, you had a fun. So yeah, and that
It
was the thing, right?
was short and tiny, but it certainly helped me as well to see how
Yeah,
easy it actually is to produce them out of the data we have already as telcos anyway. Yeah, there was
yeah,
just some
yeah.
basic set of metadata, but with CPaaS, it's easy to add call recording with our tool chain that we have in place. We can do extract, as we said, sentiment, content, context from the calls, and immediately create that data set that you then, of course, need to protect and everything to
Right,
make
right,
sure it's not just there, but it's actually used in the right way. Yeah.
right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. I loved how much I loved how easy it was. I loved that was great. That was
And I think the most complex was setting up actually the conserver, yeah, because it getting that set up, getting the admin repository, linking the two together. But in the end, I had to shorten the video because of the time that we had. But I had like the AWS stuff was working,
Oh,
the
that's
Mongo
great.
stuff was all working. So
Nice.
even that was working without issues. Yeah.
Great.
Excellent.
Fantastic. Yeah. Good. All right. Well, there we go.
Great. Okay. So. Thank you, Alan, for yet another TED Summit right after the hackathon. Sebastian, I work for Deutsche Telekom in the global carrier unit. We are the international wholesale arm of Telekom. We deal with everything that's not related to in-country stuff, but it's connecting Telecom to the world and the world with Telecom. And in that aspect, we launched recently on Capacity Europe just last week our digital service portfolio, portal offering, and that's what I want to focus on today. Of course, again, with my background of programmable communications and automating things around that. So let's get started. The only marketing slide, let's say, or high-level intro slide that I have here as part of our Wholesale Reinvented program. So we do wholesale for a long time, a lot of classic wholesale as a classic conservative carrier, if you wish. And we essentially figured that there are new types of services that are out there that we also want to introduce and be relevant in. There is certainly a different behavior of our customers, different expectations behind it. And taking all of that together led us in the end to create a digital services portfolio, which is essentially the portal and the services within that I'm going to introduce now that have been announced also last week to support our customers from a wholesale perspective, but also enable them in turn to do faster business with the services they buy from us. The first point I called also demystifying digital in quotes. Yeah, I know that's a word, of course, connotated a lot with buzz or with. I hate it myself because usually managers use it when they're imprecise or cannot really explain what they want to talk about. So from our perspective, digital means many things. It means that it's a global service. So we are not talking about a service that we only market in a certain region or that only comes out in a certain country. It's a service that is relevant globally. We scale also globally with our service in the underlay. Then there is a point of a modern portal experience. I think a very important part. Of course, you have bought services in the past from us that were digital in the way they were produced to delivered, yet you had to send Excel files to configure them to buy stuff from us. So
Yeah.
this is where we want to move away from and really to move towards an experience that is modern on, especially of course on the wholesale level. Yeah, maybe one thing as well. Some things I mentioned here. If you're working at the end of what's innovative, maybe not perceived as that innovative yet, coming from the carrier context, and in that carrier context, the wholesale world, a lot of these things have been and are still done a lot different. So people may be surprised. So that's why it's particularly important to emphasize that always that we're talking here from a wholesaler making business with other carriers. Yeah, and for this, of course, this part has a certain relevance.
Yeah.
It comes as well to, of course, better time to market. I think that's clear. The better your technology stack is, and our technology stack is of course state of the art. in the way we've built it, but also in the way we're interacting with the development teams, and we are introducing services, and we run that throughout the organization. So certainly we are faster with certain things. Of course, we are also constrained by the organization itself. So certain resources take still time, certain processes take still time. So it's still a bit of a trade-off, but it's from all the feedback we got, it's still significantly faster than what's been there before.
Yeah.
And the last part is, of course, enabling for us new and different revenue streams that we may not have access to before. What we also want is, of course, upsell a bit what we've done in the wholesale part. Yeah, wholesale is usually very bottom of the chain, so you get your margins, you make your money after everyone else has, and what we try to do is move up that value chain, and of course also enable our customers to move up that value chain and make sure there is participation also of us in that big gap between wholesale and retail margins.
Gotcha.
The portfolio we're offering in that portal is shown here. Overall, it's services around, you can cluster it as network APIs and communications APIs. We have a service for reselling numbers universe service. Again, we've done that in the past. Global Carrier is a big provider of phone numbers, and this was exactly one of the things we started with, making sure the old process of sending Excel files gets updated. So now you have a modern portal where you can get in, where you can see coverage, where you can see requirements for services. Of course, as well, an API that you can integrate as a consumer with your internal systems to buy numbers, to get information real time. This has been built from the ground up with my development team. We have some other services that we have already in Global Carrier, but that we now added to the portal because they are modern enough, let's say, to have an integration that makes sense. That would be Telekom Edge Cloud. Then we have the large set of APIs currently being discussed, I think, globally, everywhere. Identity APIs and network APIs. Identity APIs are identities like know your customers. SIM swap APIs, number verification APIs, network APIs are device status and location. We have here APIs from the so-called Camara context, so the APIs that are widely discussed in the industry. We also have APIs that are not following Camara, but more industry used mobile connect APIs. So everything here is available for wholesalers from the portal, and again with the documentation, with understanding how to access it and so on. Gotcha. The large part, and something I've been here several years now, is the area of programmable communications, CPaaS. This is basically the stack we've built in partnership with SignalWire. So we have a white label platform that we have set up here in Europe. I'll come to that in a bit. And that is integrated in our portal that is fully wholesale ready. That means our customers can use that, take that, brand the portal and go in their enterprise market and resell it. Very close to that is workflow automation, which is a tool that allows you to integrate different APIs with the API portfolio. See here, one of the gaps that I've realized talking to customers when you explain how easy it is to plug and play CPaaS APIs and capabilities with their existing platforms, they very often would have said, "Oh, that's so cool. We have an API here. How to connect it?" And exactly this glue was missing. And I think that's quite a vital part of such a portfolio as we're offering it here. So I'll come to that as well. And then we have RCS business messaging as a new service where we have the agent management on top of currently Google's platform. Okay. This has become relevant with the introduction of, or with Apple kind of jumping on the bandwagon. To me, in the past, it was really just yet another channel next to WhatsApp and the others, but with Apple supporting it, certainly there is demand increasing and also the relevancy, I believe. But still, we have other channels as part of the CPaaS. Yeah, this is really just here the agent management that we do. And then we have the white labeling in it, and last but not least, an app concept where we kind of package use cases that we see working for us and our customers, and make you allow you to easily buy that. So that's the portfolio.
What are some examples of the digital service?
An example is that we had an email to SMS service. So there was a customer wanting to integrate an SMS API, but they just had kind of an email notification. So we've kind of packaged that together, and because we had multiple requests for it, we made a service out of it. Another sample is a service that allows you to map phone numbers. So we have a customer that is a multinational that has very high interconnect costs, and we kind of packaged a service that gives them local numbers in each of the countries. So a user would have 3 numbers, and whenever the branch calls a branch user calls a user in another country, they would just dial their local number and have local calls to our platform and then be connected.
Gotcha.
But you can take any use case that integrates CPaaS numbers, identity, and basically it's not really us monetizing that primarily, but allowing our customers to sell solutions and not just capabilities.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And one point I want to highlight here, again, this is not, we're at TADSummit, so we don't just show slides. This is not slideware, what we have here. This is all live. You can go there, digitalservices.globalcarrier.telekom.com. All of these services are available. You can log in. We have customers already on it. Most of them are in commercial operation already. With some of them, we are still finalizing some IT stuff, but this is all basically live, ready, and already used by some notable customers, as we've announced at the event. Yeah, so that's quite important.
And then just jumping back to Number Universe, because I didn't want to start asking questions right at the start. So is this fixed, mobile, toll-free, all the different flavors? So this covers all of the above?
It's everything. So we used to have only free phone and so 0800 and some others. Now it includes mobile, it includes fixed. It's on our footprint, off our footprint. And one important point here is we are an aggregator, but we are also a carrier, and so for us it's important. Most of the connectivity we have is direct, so we are not just plug-in aggregators or doing some aggregation business. So both for CPaaS, for programmable comms, as well as for numbers, the connectivity is our wholesale connectivity. No gray routes, no other stuff in trying to optimize and play carriers against carriers. So this is all clean and mostly is direct with an increasing direct portfolio, and it includes, as you said, fixed mobile, and for those countries where you have regulatory requirements, it includes also, of course, knowing these requirements, providing documentation for these requirements, and all that stuff to actually be compliant as well in the end.
Cool.
Yeah. Again, looking a bit at the portal, and at this proposition, what makes it special? The portal itself is a standard portal, as you would imagine. It's been built from the ground up for us, so it has user management, trouble ticketing, and so on. Important here is that we see ourselves as well as a kind of service provider for the individual services. So instead of every of these services integrating their own trouble ticketing, and by the way, besides Edge and the mobile identity network APIs, that whole portfolio of the rest of the portfolio came from our team. We've kind of made these capabilities that we built into our stack, and that can be used by any of the services that we're onboarding. So there's significant save in resources, again, contributes to time to market. We have a document store to share documents with customers, documentation all in one place. And also for some of the more integrated services, you can even place orders. And then on top, the USPs, again, highlighting here is the new portfolio, Edge Cloud, CPaaS, Identity APIs.
Now how do you define Edge Cloud? Because I've seen lots of definitions of that.
How do we define it? It's not really a service I'm working on. I've just integrated it. So it's essentially providing through a partner, providing capabilities like compute near you.
So is it like a local cloud within a country? Is it within a city?
I need to read up on it.
Okay, no. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, located within our network. So compute close to our networks.
Okay, I understand.
it's between public cloud and device edge. But this is the one service. So we integrate multiple levels. Identity and mobile connect are provided by an adjacent team. Edge cloud is kind of a product we have in our portfolio, and we've just pulled in and do federated login, and the other ones I'm deeper involved with.
Gotcha.
It's one of those services that came, let's say, in the second wave of wholesale. So it's not one of those legacy 20-year-old services, but a newer one.
Exactly. It's where you've got a bank and it wants basically the infrastructure to run in Germany.
Yeah, for example, exactly. And then it would be peered with us and then directly close to our network endpoints. You would have.
That's clear. Thank you.
And the capabilities connected. The reselling part is very important. So portal as a service. When you go into our portal, you do not just get a portal, but you get actually a portfolio that's reselling ready. That means you get your own branding. You get the possibility to set a pricing for your customers. You get rated CDRs out of that. Something, again, one might think is state of the art, but if you would partner even with some of the big ones on these services, they are not really set up for this. Being multi-tenancy supportive, being able to even cover some of the things we can't lift with our IT, they don't have. And we really figured that this is something that other carriers that we want to sell to would need. That's why we've baked it in right into the portal. And the last point is the aggregation piece. Again, we are a carrier and we see ourselves as a carrier partnering with other carriers. So every service we have in here is as well having the aggregation for voice and messaging. That's quite obvious, but also for the identity and mobile connect piece. Of course, we have relations with other carriers to make sure we are providing here best connectivity, basically.
Gotcha. And on the messaging side, how do you deal with maybe partners that provide routes on which there could be AIT?
On the messaging side, we are, so the way this works is we are a SMS aggregator and a voice carrier. So the CPaaS platform sits on top of that. So from that perspective, we are making use of our standard messaging
over
platform.
your network. It doesn't go outside of network.
So we are connected, of course, with our opcos. We have other, I don't know now how many, but we have a lot of direct routes, which means we are directly connected to the terminating network. We have a lot of indirect routes going via our trusted termination. So it's a kind of one hop with special agreements, and only very few routes are done with hubs or aggregators, classic aggregators, where we then, of course, depend on them routing it forward. But as I mentioned, most of the networks, and this is a growing amount of networks as well, is built on top of our our existing messaging hub, and there everything is in place, firewalling and so on. Of course, because we are a carrier and we know, we fight against gray routing and the other things, partnering with us assures you in a way that we won't do that because we don't want it done to us. So this is kind of the difference. Where I mentioned we do aggregation, but we don't want to be necessarily put in the category of aggregator. Because,
I agree.
They do much more than aggregation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I sort of refer to it when a carrier is doing this as creating an island of honesty.
Yeah, in a way, exactly.
Cool. Okay, that's good.
Then the next point, focus on Europe. Again, a very important point when it comes to services like CPaaS and workflow automation. We have, of course, when you want to do CPaaS in Europe, you have on one hand GDPR and many of the big competitors we have out there. This was a logo slide here. Actually, I've removed the logo, not to point fingers, but many of the competitors we have out there are GDPR compliant, following it one way or the other. The problem is that on one extent, from a Telecommunications Act perspective, this is not enough if you run on US hyperscalers, and also from a certain sector, be it healthcare, be it public sector, they also have much stricter requirements than GDPR would have, and you simply cannot really run on any platform that uses the US hyperscaler. This is why we set up our platform basically in Europe. A lot of it is running in Germany. Some other parts are running in other European countries. And also all the partnerships we have, when they're not European, they are kind of supported and maintained and accessed only by European partners that they have, which allows us to have a proposition, again, on top of our routing that is transparently European. You get a data protection agreement with only European partners, and you can also, when you resell that, give this kind of promise or this kind of contractually your partners, which means it's not just for, anyone that wanted to use a CPaaS in the last years, they had already many options. We are not trying here to now say that we are, more innovative or faster than the market leaders. We are certainly a carrier, and we are not on the forefront here, but we have a proposition that is solid enough from the feature set, and it follows certain rules that allows even existing customers of them to tap into markets they couldn't really go after before. Yeah, and this is confirmed by our customers. So we have just now as well released a customer story of a Germany largest Twilio customer that basically says, I now can do public sector, I now can do healthcare. They won recently an RFQ as well in that area. So it's really an important point of having that part of the proposition.
Exactly, and I'm seeing more and more providers in that space.
Yeah.
Looking, and in fact, we were talking with Matteo, ex BICS.
Right. Yeah, and he's working with us as well. Yeah.
Excellent, and he was covering that in terms of its. Well, I was using you as an example, just to endorse what he was. It's very politic. It's never names. Well, I was like, well, Deutsche Telekom did this.
The question, who was first? Were we doing it first, or was he giving the advice first?
I know.
In the end, it's good that, and we see that as well. By the way, of course, there's the European story we tell here. We see also in other markets. So technically, the stack we built, we could also, if there's demand, port into other regions.
Exactly.
But for now, we see that this is quite important, and certainly for us, it's a major part of the proposition. Of course, what helps is that we have an API that is compatible to the market leader Twilio here. So that means if you're on Twilio, you can very easily divert workload and get started with us, which is certainly a benefit we see with many of our customers. But SignalWire, we also have more modern ways of interacting, like the WebSocket base and so on. So we have best of both worlds, if you wish. Yeah, the past and the future.
Anyway, when you're looking at other regions, there's companies like Uniphonic that have been taking very similar approach in creating basically moats in each of their countries of operation with locally hosted resources, because that's what the regulator is requiring. So, it backs up what Matteo is saying in terms of you have to be locally focused. But again, there's very interesting companies in this space. But cool, that's excellent.
Exactly. I think we covered a lot here from the kind of CPaaS page. So data privacy, branding, a branded interface. So again, you get your logo in, you get your own privacy policies in.
So do you provide support as a service, or do you expect?
So what we do is we help our partners understand the portfolio. We help them onboard customers. And what we do if more support is needed is we facilitate with some of the services where we partner directly with the integrator. So for SignalWire, if you want advanced support, you can go directly to them. The same is for workflow automation with our partner Mation. You can go directly with them. So it's a mix of it. But currently, the wholesale area is not that big. Currently, actually, all the customers we give presentations to and we talk to, we really try to help on a one-on-one almost. Let's say. So I think the hard part is making sure. So the first step is convincing somebody that this is relevant to them. The next step is scaling it, making sure their sales organization understand it. But if you have that one champion in the organization, this is kind of what is needed. And currently, we still manage this, let's say, with a one-on-one mode in making sure, or many to one. But we make sure that we support them and make sure they feel confident in kind of pitching this what we give them into their organization.
Okay, that's cool.
The other parts I mentioned here again. Very briefly, the feature set, I think we don't really need to get in there. As I mentioned, everything from a programmable SMS to telephony is in there.
AI agents. Are you doing anything in the AI space?
Yes, we are. So Deutsche Telekom is doing AI. That means we have access to a couple of platforms. I've actually shown a hack recently where we did use our own AI endpoint and we did some RAG. We kind of integrated a directory and then did an interaction with it. So via workflow automation, and we come to that now, we have the possibility to integrate AI platforms. We are out of the box compatible with OpenAI. with Azure OpenAI and with any LLM that is using the OpenAI format. So if somebody runs their private LLM, it's possible. We also do have our own internal LLM. This is not yet ready for reselling because we got to discuss scaling that independently.
Yeah.
But anyone who's on Azure or who wants to use OpenAI can use it out of the box.
Gotcha.
And of course, the CPaaS platform itself has a quite advanced integration of AI. Again, it's not a secret. We talk about SignalWire here, so they do very advanced stuff with AI.
Yes.
What we are working on here is making sure that we can offer this commercially, taking into account the privacy and regulatory stuff that I've mentioned earlier. So this is what we're working on. But certainly AI plays a big role. Currently, we leave it to the customer to choose their platform themselves and integrate via workflow automation, and this would be then fully supported as well.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, SignalWire were a sponsor of TADHack Open back in March at Enterprise Connect, and everybody was hacking on their platform. So,
it's pretty cool. I mean, the features, also the swimmels or the new markup language that you have, and the capabilities what you can do with it is pretty amazing. So I've joined an internal hackathon, did something myself with this interface, and it's really amazing what the guys have built.
Oh, yeah.
So much beyond the Twimmel what we used to use with them.
But also I find the help pages on like guides around the prompts, so you can put guardrails around it for best results and a whole range of different scenarios. So there's a lot of experience they put in. And it's a fun tool to use. Exactly.
And certainly what we realize is with advanced customers that know CPaaS, that have used it before, coming from kind of Twilio Studio or other flow editors that they used for building flows. Certainly AI helps you also in the creation of flows and making sure you're very quickly able to generate flows, and also be able for your customers, of course, to quickly kind of skip them if they want to. So we took a healthcare flow that was very linear and brought that essentially into a just say what you want and you get it either connected or you get the information. So a lot coming out of the box here, if you know how to use it. So very, very interesting. Coming back to linear flows, our workflow automation tool. Essentially, I've depicted here what is the idea. So you have triggers. It could be a new lead in Salesforce that is set up. It could be an incoming call, and then you can link one or multiple actions to it. So think of a call coming in. You look up in Salesforce who is the customer. Then you greet the customer by name. And then the customer says what they want. You do a text to speech, and then speech to text, and then the text is put into an AI, and the response is fed back to the customer, and so on. So all of these flows you can do here. It's not only limited to CPaaS. All our services that we have are integrated here. So you could add AI into it. You could connect your bank platform or anything. So it's really the integrations that make it powerful. Again, with the mindset, we don't just want to sell a set of capabilities, but we want to make them easy to use.
Exactly.
And then what we do is as well, we are working on packaging use cases in templates, because we work with carriers. We know what works in their markets. We try to make that carrier ecosystem kind of benefit from each other, not top down as the big organizations do, but we really try to do that bottom up. Show what works and then kind of try to scale it.
Makes a lot of sense.
It's a really big driver of it. Some have even interest just in this. We have more than 50 services integrated. This is hosted in our platform, and it's just part of it. So once you use any of our services, you will get that on top of it. And last but not least, looking a bit at the kind of at technical stack, if you wish, that we have our service portal, again, as I mentioned, overarching portfolio where we aggregate the products, where we do the enablement of using it, use cases, service templates, all that stuff that are consumed and resold easily. Remember, we are not selling this directly, so we have very limited time to explain that to the end customer. So we need to build something that our customers can scale with easily, and that's exactly what we try to do here. And we also offer IT capabilities that help others, because we know the pain of IT prioritization and IT resources. So we try to really get you ready for for integrating that. Then the CloudComs portfolio that sits on top of our connectivity.
Yeah.
Of course, we add new connectivity like RBM, like WhatsApp, and so on. But it's very important that for us, any link, even the link into the telecom network, is just yet another channel, yet another partner. We treat them equally. We try to give you the most direct connectivity, and the value is then created on top of that.
But and that's RBM is just Google partnership, yeah.
RBM is currently we are using Google because many of the, I think all of the telecom opcos are using Google, and also in our markets, it's mostly Google. Yeah. In difference to the US, you still need a commercial agreement with the carriers. So we are not doing it free, and we do also this commercial clearinghouse. So if you want to launch in Germany, instead of needing 3 carrier agreements, you have an agreement with us, and you get all our agreements kind of integrated.
Understood. So I see the value.
That's on top, and what we are working on as well is we are preparing. So if the first customer comes that needs connectivity that is not Google covered, but with a different platform, we can also aggregate into that. So we have essentially it's Google with their aggregations plus any other RBM map provider.
Gotcha. That's clear.
And last but not least, as I mentioned, the workflow automation as a category, and then network APIs and mobile identity. Again, for us, it's here also the aggregation. So we do not just sell you our footprint, but we sell you access to identity, and we bring as well here a lot of directs. And where we're not direct, we would again partner with aggregators, not the legacy aggregators, but those aggregators that focus on identity and yes, where we know they play a significant and good role in the ecosystem.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of a very short overview of both technical, commercial stuff of our portfolio. Again, digital is a buzzword, but it means we think wholesale differently. We take our years of experience and also of pain and suffer trying to do something like this in a big telco. Yeah, I can say for myself, even I think we finally managed to get something on the road that has high level support, that is interesting commercially. The feedback from Capacity Europe was really amazing. I have to say, a lot of other groups look at this and think it's relevant for them, and coming from a wholesale carrier. And from also basically telco that is active in many countries, I think there's a lot of potential in such a kind of new way of doing or of getting telco capabilities, but also helping our partners to bring these telco capabilities in their markets and make money with it, and kind of move up the value chain, which is certainly one of the motivations as well behind this.
No, absolutely. I mean, we've seen in Asia as well, very similar models. So it's like Ameed Jamous, with the TelecomsXChange, and his customers have been offering this both, across their different groups, but also reselling through other channels as well. So it really does stimulate a lot of competition, but also I think it's a more customer-focused solution.
Funny you mention it, because we've actually met one of the carriers at the event where I was last week. They've described something, and I was kind of asking if it's like TelecomsXChange. And then they were surprised that I know TelecomsXChange, apparently, coming from DT. But I mean, I know the guys, and so it turns out that their product is a white label of TelecomsXChange. So it's a funny coincidence that actually, and I'm glad to see that also here we have some kind of democratization where you say anyone can go to this marketplace, and anyone is there. There are even some channel partners that aren't really telcos that tap in here. So again, if you want to connect your customers, there's transparency in price, there's transparency in how the routes are being managed, and cool. In a way, this is also what we offer here. Everything is exposed via APIs, so whoever wants to integrate some of these capabilities is of course able to as well, from a programmatic perspective. And I'm even thinking, if something like TelecomsXChange could even be interesting for us, since we now have the possibility to tap into that as well. But that's
exactly. No, that's great. So
have you ever been to New York?
I've been personally, but it's been a while. Overseas travel is currently a problem, but if there's a chance to come, or if an interesting,
I'll tell you why, because we do a lot of podcasts here, and I'm from New York, and you're the first person that I'm ever going to have to not speed up the podcast to listen to. I mean, what a brilliant presentation! thorough, with facts and coherent. I understood everything. I just got to tell you, you are really good at what you do. I don't care what you're talking about. The way you explained it, the way you rolled it off. I'm Alan's co-host on the show and TADSummit Truth to Telecom. Okay, and I'm just blown away. Like somebody from New York is in your bloodline somewhere, because that's exactly what we talk. And as far as Ameed from TelecomsXChange, who I love dearly, and he's one of my favorites, I need to speed him up quite a bit when he comes on the podcast. So just keep on rolling. I mean, you're a New Yorker as far as I'm concerned.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.
So get a Yankee cap and get ready for the weekend. And SignalWire guys, we love the SignalWire guys, and they're a lot of fun. We've had them on a couple of times, and they're awesome. And you made the right
they do good
partner.
stuff, and I'm really happy. Exactly, we can partner with those guys on the forefront of new generation programmable communications, if you wish.
Exactly.
And I'm really happy we can add our kind of carrier take into it, and make sure it's still a proposition that kind of makes sense for both of us as well. Exactly.
Okay, great.
Excellent.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the feedback, and fun in the rest of the shows, and see you
again soon.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.